In Florida, the state Supreme Court has upheld death sentences imposed by non-unanimous juries, reaffirming a controversial law that allows a defendant to be sentenced to death even if not all jurors agree. Under Florida law, as few as 8 out of 12 jurors can recommend the death penalty. The court rejected arguments that this practice violates constitutional protections, ruling that the law complies with both state and federal standards. Supporters of the ruling argue that it strengthens justice for victims and ensures serious crimes are punished appropriately. However, critics say the decision lowers the threshold for imposing the most severe punishment possible, increasing the risk of wrongful or unfair executions. Human rights groups and legal experts warn that allowing death sentences without unanimous jury agreement undermines safeguards meant to protect defendants' rights. Florida now remains one of only a few states permitting this practice. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, a very different but equally controversial case unfolded. A Milwaukee County judge, Hannah Dugan, was convicted of felony obstruction after a jury found that she helped an undocumented immigrant avoid arrest by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Prosecutors said the judge directed the individual and his lawyer through a private courthouse exit after learning that federal agents were waiting to make an arrest. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Supporters of the ruling, including prosecutors and some lawmakers, argue that the law ensures justice for victims and prevents lengthy retrials that can re-traumatize families. They say the system still provides sufficient safeguards and reflects the will of Florida's legislature. Critics strongly disagree. Human rights organizations, legal scholars, and death penalty opponents warn that lowering the jury threshold increases the risk of wrongful executions. They argue that the death penalty, being irreversible, demands the highest possible standard of certainty. Florida, along with Alabama, remains among the very few states that do not require unanimous jury recommendations for death sentences, a fact that continues to draw national and international criticism. The decision is expected to keep Florida's death row active and may influence future legal challenges across the country as courts continue to grapple with evolving standards of justice in constitutional interpretation. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, a case involving judicial conduct in immigration enforcement captured national attention. A Milwaukee County judge, Hannah Dugan, was convicted on a felony obstruction charge after a federal jury found that she interfered with an immigration arrest carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. According to prosecutors, the incident occurred when federal agents arrived at a courthouse to arrest an undocumented immigrant. Court testimony revealed that after becoming aware of the agent's presence, Judge Dugan allegedly directed the individual and his attorney to leave through a private exit, allowing him to avoid immediate arrest. The defense argued that the judge was acting within her judicial role, prioritizing courthouse safety and protecting the integrity of the courtroom. Her legal team maintained that judges have discretion over how proceedings are conducted and that she did not intend to obstruct federal law enforcement. The jury ultimately rejected that argument. While Judge Dugan was acquitted of one lesser charge, she was found guilty of felony obstruction. The conviction carries the possibility of prison time, and under state law, it bars her from holding public office. She has since been suspended from judicial duties, and her attorneys have indicated plans to appeal the verdict. The case has sparked intense debate across the legal community. Supporters of the conviction argue that judges must be held accountable like any other citizen, and that interfering with federal agents crosses a clear legal line. Critics argue that prosecuting a sitting judge for actions taken in the courtroom sets a troubling precedent and could discourage judges from exercising discretion or protecting defendants' rights. Taken together, these two cases reflect broader tensions within the American justice system. The Florida ruling underscores ongoing disputes over the death penalty, fairness in sentencing, and the balance between victims' rights and constitutional protections. The Wisconsin case highlights the growing conflict between local courts and federal immigration enforcement, as well as the question of how much authority judges truly have within their own courtrooms. Both rulings arrive at a time when public trust in institutions, including the judiciary, is under scrutiny. They raise fundamental questions. How much certainty is enough when a life is on the line? Where does judicial independence end and legal accountability begin? And how should courts navigate politically charged issues without undermining public confidence? As appeals, legal challenges, and public debate continue. These decisions are likely to shape future court rulings, influence legislation, and remain focal points in discussions about justice, power, and the rule of law in the United States. If you watch this point, then you like these updates, kindly subscribe to my channel for more.